Energetic of TCA cycle. The energetic of TCA cycle means how many ATPs are produced from breakdown or oxidation of one molecule of acetyl coenzyme A. So from the calculation we got that we have 12 ATPs per acetyl coenzyme A. So 2 ATP, 2 acetyl coenzyme means 24 ATPs will be produced. Now the production of ATP depends on how much energy is actually utilized during the oxidation of reducing equivalent, that is NADH or FADH2. Oxidation of one acetyl coenzyme A will produce 12 ATPs. But this number of ATPs depend on how much energy is efficiently transferred during the oxidation of reducing equivalents such as NADH or FADH2. Now as a actual calculation, it produces around 2.5 ATPs, per NADH and 1.5 ATPs per FADH2. So accordingly, the calculation changes to different. So it will become 28 to 32. Moreover, the 2 NADH produced as a step 6 of glycolysis, if they are transported inside mitochondria via malate aspartate shuttle, then the calculation will be different. And if they are transported via glycerol 3-phosphate shuttle, then the calculation will be different. So accordingly, any calculation they can depict, and you may be asked to explain how that number you can justify. Okay. So accordingly you calculate. The 3 processes of calculation I have already shown. Now TCA cycle, as we discussed around 1945, it was completely elucidated. So there TCA cycle was termed as cellular hub of metabolism. Cellular hub means all metabolic pathways either converge or diverge from one or other intermediates of TCA cycle. TCA cycle এর বিভিন্ন ইন্টারমিডিয়েট থেকে হয় অন্য কোনো মেটাবলিক সাইকেলের প্রোডাক্ট তৈরি হয় বা অন্য কোনো মেটাবলিক প্রোডাক্ট থেকে TCA সাইকেলে কোনো না কোনো ইন্টারমিডিয়েট তৈরি হয়। যে সমস্ত রিঅ্যাকশন এই ইন্টারমিডিয়েটগুলোকে তৈরি করে, মানে the reactions which produce the intermediates of TCA cycle, those reactions are called Anaplerotic reactions, means filling up reactions. That means some or other intermediates of TCA cycle can be withdrawn from the TCA cycle for production of some other products. If they are withdrawn from the TCA cycle, then the TCA cycle will not run properly. In order to make up this loss, some other reactions, sideways reactions, they pour in the intermediates of TCA cycle so that the cycle can run properly. Alright, and these reactions are called filling up reactions or Anaplerotic reactions. Fine. So one such reaction is this: pyruvate to oxaloacetate. See, the usual pathway is pyruvate is oxidized to form acetyl coenzyme A. Then acetyl coenzyme A joins with oxaloacetate to form citrate. But if some compounds, some pathways withdraw citrate, alpha-ketoglutarate or malate from the pathway, then oxaloacetate will not be formed. So in order to initiate the reaction on its own, the pyruvate may take up the responsibility to produce both the reactants of citrate synthase. What is that? It might produce acetyl-CoA as well as it might produce oxaloacetate, so that the first reaction begins. Next, it need not to worry. Then it will go on automatically. Plerotic reaction, Anaplerotic reaction. So this is one of the anaplerotic reaction. Another anaplerotic reaction is alpha-ketoglutarate, formation of alpha-ketoglutarate from glutamate to alpha-ketoglutarate. So 3খানা রিঅ্যাকশন মনে রাখতে হবে। অ্যানাপেরিক রিঅ্যাকশন 1 নম্বর পাইরুভেট কার্বক্সিলেজ, কি বললাম গ্লুটামেট থেকে আলফা-ketoglutarate, সেটা কি হবে সেরাম গ্লুটামেট AST or ALT, দুটো যে কোনো একটা হতে পারে, ঠিক আছে। ট্রান্সঅ্যামিনেশন রিঅ্যাকশন, মোদ্দা কথায় ট্রান্সঅ্যামিনেশন রিঅ্যাকশন। তিন নম্বর এই রিঅ্যাকশনে দেখানো হয়, যদিও এই রিঅ্যাকশনটা খুব একটা কমন না, ইটস নট সো কমন। কি দেখানো হচ্ছে ফসফেনল পাইরুভেট টু oxaloacetate enzyme PEP carboxylase, PEP carboxylase। এটা আমরা লিখবো না, বরং আমরা এইটা ওটা ছেড়ে দাও, ওটা লিখতে পারো, অপশনাল, দুটো লিখলে যোগ পাবে, তো লিখে রাখো। কারণ এটা প্রথম এনজাইমটারই একটা পোর্শন হতে পারে ইন সাম কেসেস, সেই জন্য ওটা অনেক সময় আলাদা ধরা হয় না। এইটা পাইরুভেট টু ম্যালেট, পাইরুভেট টু ম্যালেট, এটা আমরা পড়বো না। কেন পড়বো না? ইট অকার্স ইন প্লান্টস, ঠিক আছে, নট ইন আওয়ার বডি। ম্যালিক এনজাইম পাইরুভেট টু ম্যালেট, এটা হয় না আমাদের শরীরে, হয় না, দরকার নেই, ঠিক আছে। This one, these three you remember, they are called anaperotic reaction. Significance key to fill up the gap produced due to withdrawal of intermediates for production of certain other products. Right? Now, this is called, there's a question comes, very common question, that is amphibolic in nature. TCA cycle is amphibolic in nature. Amphibolic means it has both anabolic as well as catabolic effect. Anabolic or anabolism means the reactions, anabolic reactions are the sum total of reactions or metabolic reactions which leads to increase in dry weight of the body. Catabolic reactions or catabolism is a sum total of metabolic reactions which lead to decrease in dry weight of the body. Fine. So any synthesis of new product within the body is anabolism. Breakdown of certain products, oxidation is catabolism. Fine. So this reaction, this pathway is both anabolic as well as catabolic. How to say? For that, you have to remember this entry of different substances. There are mostly three major energy producing molecules: carbohydrate, protein and lipid. Among carbohydrates is glucose, among proteins there are 20 amino acids which are called standard amino acids, and among the lipid, fatty acids or free fatty acids or the products, oxidized products of free fatty acids, that is acetyl-CoA enzyme. Right? So we have to see where they enter and from where they exit. So we start with pyruvate. Why pyruvate? Because this pyruvate cannot be oxidized unless they enter mitochondria. So inside the mitochondria pyruvate is available. When outside the mitochondria glucose is available. Inside the mitochondria, pyruvate is available when? Outside the mitochondria, glucose is available. So, correct? But there may be conditions when I am not eating, so glucose is not present. So who will provide pyruvate? Liko, please do write down. Okay. All right. Aspartate and asparagine. Phenylalanine and succinate. সাকসাইটটা নেই না ওখানে, তার কারণ আছে, সাকসাইট তো লিখতে হবে, পরে আসছি। গ্লুটামেট, পাইরুভেট সেটা ছিল, প্রোলিন, আর্জিনিন, গ্লুটামিন, গ্লুটামেট। প্রোলিন, আর্জিনিন আর গ্লুটামিন। এর মধ্যে গ্লুটামিন থেকে ডিঅ্যামিনেশন করে গ্লুটামেট তৈরি হয়। প্রোলিন এবং আর্জিনিনের ক্যাটাবলিক পাথওয়েতে একটা পার্ট 5-অক্সোগ্লুটারেট, সেখান থেকে তৈরি হয় গ্লুটামেট। হলো? কটা হলো? অ্যামিনো অ্যাসিড কটা হলো? তেরোটা। কি বাকি গেল বলতো? মিথিওনিন বাকি গেল। গাছ সিটি, অ্যাসপার্টেট, পিটি, সকাল সকাল ঝামেলা করলে এই বন্ধ হয়ে যায়। বের করে দিচ্ছি, সময় লাগবে, চলে আসবে। Citrate outside the mitochondria is broken down to oxaloacetic acid and acetyl-coenzyme A. The enzyme used here is an ATP-driven reaction, citrate lyase. This acetyl-coenzyme A may give rise to the biosynthesis of free fatty acid and ketone body. Now, these production, which product will be produced? That will be decided by the metabolic state of the person. If he is in well-fed state, then biosynthesis of fatty acid and cholesterol will take place. If he is in starvation mode, then ketone body will be produced. Right? Because in starvation mode, upstairs, the glucose is absent. We have only protein, pyruvate, which is coming from the okay. এটা মনে পড়ছে না কেন রে? Him, একটাই বাদ যাচ্ছে, ওটা মনে পড়ছে না আমার। মিথিওনিন, জাস্ট এ থেকে বেরিয়ে গেল ফট করে। যাক, ঠিক আছে, পরে দেখছি। এটাই থাক মোটামুটি। আর যদি এইখানটায় অ্যাসিটাইল-কোএনজাইমে ধরো, তাহলে এইটার প্রোডাকশন হবে চেঞ্জ করো, এটাকে সাকসিনাইল কোয়ে করো। Valine, isoleucine, methionine give rise to propionyl CoA to এটা ঠিক আছে। Now propionyl CoA can come from two different sources. One is these branch chain amino acids, as well as it can also come from oxidation of odd chain fatty acid. And acetyl coenzyme may come from তাহলে কি কি বললাম দেখো, মেইন হচ্ছে ওপরটায় GASTCT, গ্লাইসিন, অ্যালানিন, সেরিন, থ্রিওনিন, সিস্টিন, ট্রিপ্টোফ্যান, ঠিক আছে। নেক্সট হচ্ছে অ্যাসপার্টেট এন্ড অ্যাসপারাজিন, তবে ফিনাইলিন, টাইরোসিন, ফিউমারেট, সাকসিনাইল কোয়ের সঙ্গে গ্লাইসিন অ্যাড করে ডেল্টা অ্যালা তৈরি হয়, তো এটা অ্যানাবলিক রিয়াকশন। এগুলি ক্যাটাবলিক রিয়াকশন। when we are in starvation mode, our proteins are utilized, muscle protein broken down, from there these amino acids are produced and they pour in the intermediates of this one so that our cell can produce energy. This can produce heme. Succinyl CoA can also be produced from propionyl CoA, right? Propionyl CoA can be produced from breakdown of Vim, valine, isoleucine, methionine, or oxidation of end product of oxidation of odd chain fatty acid. On the other hand, the rest of the product from the oxidation of fatty acid produces acetyl coenzyme, right? Now the citrate is produced here. Citrate can go out the specific transporter with the help of specific transporter present on the mitochondrial membrane. These transporters are called transporters of TCA cycle intermediate. Most of the intermediates of TCA cycle, except few, has got their own transporters. Outside mitochondria, the cytosol, it is broken down by citrate lyase to form oxaloacetate and acetyl-CoA. Now, depending on the metabolic state of the individual, if there is a proper supply of glucose from the top, then this acetyl-CoA will produce either free fatty acid, de novo synthesis of fatty acid, or it will produce cholesterol. Both are lipid. If there is no glucose, the person is suffering from diabetes mellitus or starvation, then ketone bodies, the alternate fuel molecule for body. When glucose is missing, then ketone body becomes the alternate fuel molecules. Most of the tissue can utilize ketone body except few. One of them is mature RBC. Because it has no mitochondria. To utilize ketone body, we need mitochondria. Brain usually do not prefer to use ketone body. But when condition becomes very bad, that either he has to survive or it has to utilize something else other than glucose, then it becomes the first person to shift. Just like before politics, before election, political party they change. Immediately brain changes to survival mode and its preferred molecule becomes ketone body. And then brain becomes a maximum consumer of ketone body. Okay, that's all. So this whole diagram is called, it can be used in many ways. Show the entry and exit of different amino acids. Explain TCA cycle is amphibolic in nature. What are the different anaplerotic reactions? What are the reactions? What are the anabolic reactions taking part from the TCA cycle? Explain that TCA cycle is a cellular metabolic hub. Many questions, one answer. Need this diagram to be remembered. Followed? Next. Regulation of TCA cycle. The regulation of TCA cycle is very, very difficult, so it is omitted from your syllabus. But few points you must remember. It is very difficult, first of all, to regulate any cyclic pathway. You cannot stop one reaction. You have to stop multiple reactions. You have to stop multiple reactions. Then only you can stop the metabolic pathway. And moreover, the cyclic pathways are those which are very, very important for our body. Say, consider urea cycle. Is it not very important for us? Without production of urea every minute, our body will get full of toxins. So, there is no need to down-regulate urea cycle. Similarly, TCA cycle is needed for production of energy, whether we are sleeping or we are awake. So, there is no need to stop TCA cycle. It may produce sometimes more, it might be required. When I am running, the TCA cycle should be increased, but it should not be decreased below such a lower point so that it does not produce anything. No, it will happen only once. When? When we will see the Almighty. Have you seen Almighty ever? You will see that day. That day is coming. I am sure that day will come in your life. Are you sure about it? Right? So that day will come, definitely. Whether you can appear in examination, pass in examination, become a doctor or not, nobody knows. But I am sure that day will come in your life, when you will see the Almighty. And then you will come to know He is neither Hindu, nor Muslim, nor Christian, nor Zulu, Jolo, whatever it is. Before that, you cannot understand, because we will not let you know. It will help us, na? Society will be benefited from this thought. So, this almighty metabolic cycle will produce energy throughout our life, ever since our zygote was formed, even before fetus. The moment a zygote was formed, it started the reaction. It will continue till the last breath of ours. So, these enzymes has got a particular name called housekeeping enzymes. You know, who are called housekeepers? Who are housekeepers? Is your mom housewife? No? But still, who cooks for you? Who feeds you? Your mom? So, even though he is not a housewife, he is housekeeper, she is housekeeper. Correct? Be it Monday, Sunday, every morning you need breakfast, whether you get up early or not, but your mom gets up early and get it ready. So, she has no holiday. Rather, on holidays she has to slog more. You know? Because that day your father is also sleeping and she has to make food for both. Normally. You know? So, Sundays housekeepers work more. Similarly, so these enzymes never stop in our lifetime. That's why they are called as housekeeping enzymes. Can they be regulated? Yes, there are many ways we can reduce the rate of reactions. How? By certain allosteric modulators. See, ultimate goal of these all reactions is to produce ATP. So, if the ATP is plenty means what is the condition? You have taken 2 plates of mutton biryani with chicken chop and 4 rasgullas, and then you are lying on your bed or couch and you are half asleep with a sweet pan in your mouth. What is the energy expenditure? Correct? So, in that case, what will happen? The energy is no need to be produced further. What will happen? The cell is full of plenty of ADPs, correct? Because you are working so hard or you hardly work. So, there this ATP will block this path, inhibit these steps, not stop, reduce. They are allosteric modulators. They are not called inhibitors. Inhibitors, activators are different. Allosteric modulators are different. Allosteric modulator means they will reduce or increase, they will not stop it. If they stop the reaction, it is inhibitor. Right? This is the same NADH, that is the reducing equivalence is more, that means no need to produce ATP. So, they will stop these reactions. Mostly which reactions can you see? The irreversible reactions, the reactions which produce NADH are the regulatory points. The reactions which are producing NADH are the regulatory point. This one, isocitrate dehydrogenase, alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase and malate dehydrogenase and also succinate dehydrogenase. Right? So, wherever there is production of reducing equivalents, those reactions we can stop, we can regulate. What else? The major reactions, the citrate synthase, the first foremost reaction can be regulated by more citrate product inhibition, citrate, ATP, correct? And if there is ADP, then this reaction will continue. So, all these are called allosteric modulators of citrate synthase, except citrate is called what? Type of product inhibition. It is a type of product inhibition, but the mechanism is allosteric regulation. Clear? Fine. Now, the regulation of such pathways can be done by these three methods. What is that? Substrate availability. It is called substrate flux or metabolic flux. Metabolic flux means what is the metabolic state of the person? What is the metabolic state of the person? Is he having good amount of food in regular interval? Is he having positive nitrogen balance, or is he having negative nitrogen balance, not taking food properly, or is he having any disease, say for example diabetes mellitus, cancer, cachexia or something else, right? So, depending on that, the metabolic flux will change. Flux means FLUX, flux means the amount of any metabolic component is getting gathered together due to some metabolic condition. If it produces more and more glucose, it will go to pyruvate acetyl coenzyme, and if there is a lot of ATP, it will not go to TCA cycle, it will go to production of this pathway, free fatty acid and cholesterol. But remember, to produce these, they require what? Certain hormones, which I have not discussed anymore so far. The hormones are metabolic, anabolic or catabolic. Say for example, insulin, is it an catabolic or anabolic? Huh? Anabolic. Without insulin, person becomes thin. So, insulin is anabolic. When diabetes mellitus occurs due to insulin deficiency, the person becomes this thin or this thin. Okay? Fine. So, insulin is nothing but an anabolic hormone. So, in presence of anabolic hormone, these can be produced, but in absence, although there is a lot of energy, a lot of ATP in the body, but this one and this one will not be produced. Rather, this one will be produced. It's not so easy to understand. Cholesterol sometimes will increase due to some other reason, not due to absence of insulin, but some other reactions which will be promoted in absence of insulin, giving rise to cholesterol. Not related to cholesterol biosynthesis, not this type of reaction. Production can be cholesterol can be from cholesterol ester or breakdown of lipid. So the breakdown process will increase. So from there cholesterol will come, not by the increased biosynthesis of cholesterol. বুঝা গেল ব্যাপারটা খুব কঠিন হয়ে ব্যাপারটা একটু। Insulin is anabolic hormone. So in insulin, absence of insulin, what will happen? No anabolic pathway will take place. Protein biosynthesis will stop, free fatty acid biosynthesis will stop, cholesterol biosynthesis will stop. Correct? Which one will be preferred? Protein breakdown. So amino acid will be produced. Blood is full of glucose, but still muscle cannot eat. Why? Muscle has which transporter? GLUT4. So GLUT4, in absence of GLUT4, why absence of GLUT4? Because no. So in absence of insulin, in absence of GLUT4, muscle is unable to utilize. Correct? But other cells can utilize glucose. So they will produce, and there this situation will occur where ATP is plenty. So they will send this citrate for synthesis of this one. But problem again, to biosynthesize this one and this one, we require certain enzymes which are regulated or upregulated by insulin. Now since insulin is not there, what will happen? This will undergo breakdown again to form this one. Cholesterol may not be synthesized from acetyl-CoA enzyme in absence of insulin, but it can be produced from other compounds where cholesterol is present, which may be broken down due to absence of insulin, like triglycerides, lipids, other lipids. So they will produce more and more free fatty acid. So the blood will be full of free fatty acid, not because insulin is absent. Because insulin is absent, it will not stop the reaction which initiates a breakdown of those molecules. So breakdown of big molecules will be preferred in absence of insulin. So effect will be same. What is that? Free fatty acid will increase, cholesterol will increase. So diabetic patient will have very soon cardiac arrest. Although the muscle is being wasted, muscle protein. He needs protein, but he asks for sugar. A patient of diabetic mellitus should take more of protein in diet, but he will come to you and ask for sugar because of the craving, because the muscle is starving. But he requires what? Protein. He requires fish, he requires chicken, he requires egg. He does not require fat, because fat is plenty. Not by the synthesis, by the breakdown of big molecules. Clear? Back here. Study card. এটা just start করে ছেড়ে দেবো। গ্লুকোনিজেনেসিস, একটা ছোট্ট ঘটনা বলি। Have you seen any old movies like Rocky? Huh? Have you seen the movies? Rocky? Or any movie where boxing is involved or a lot of wrestling is involved? Have you seen them eating in the movie? What do they eat? কি খায়? রেসলার, তারপরে বক্সার, এরা কি খায় সকালবেলা উঠে? হ্যাঁ, কি খায়? বাট কার্বোহাইড্রেট, প্রোটিন। তুই বাইরে গিয়ে কার্বোহাইড্রেট কিনে নিয়ে আসিস? বাইরে থেকে কি কি নিয়ে নিয়ে আসে? কার্বোহাইড্রেট। তুই এটা সকালে মাসিকে কি বলিস তো পলিস্যাকারাইড দিন? বোকা আসলে। বাট কি খায় বলো? হরলিক্স কে বললো? এগ ভেজে খায় না সিদ্ধ করে খায়? হ্যাঁ, র এগ খায়। দেখিস নি? দেখবি সিলভেস্টার স্ট্যালোনের রকি 4, দেখবি ও সকালবেলা কি খায়। ভোর 3টের সময় উঠে ওরকম 10-12টা ডিম খেয়ে চলে গেল জগিং করতে। পান্তা ভাতও খায় না, মুড়িও খায় না, পরোটাও খায় না, আলু পরোটাও খায় না, কারণ ওগুলি খেয়ে কোনো লাভ নেই। শরীরের প্রোটিন দরকার, কার্বোহাইড্রেট না। কার্বোহাইড্রেট কখন দরকার? যখন বাচ্চা ছোট। আমার মতন ধেড়ে লোকের কার্বোহাইড্রেট দরকার নেই, ঠিক আছে? বাচ্চা গ্রোয়িং তো বুঝতে বলেছি। बैठने को बोला, फिर क्यों बैठे? आदत सुधारो, आदत सुधारो। So they need protein. Now why they need protein in the morning? Because when we sleep in the night, we are actually fasting. We are not eating for many hours. How many hours? Suppose you sleep at 10 o'clock and wake up at 6 o'clock. How many hours? 8 hours. If next day is Sunday, then 12 hours. Correct? Until your mom ready with puris, উঠে ও বাবা খেয়ে নে লুচি করেছি, until she says like this, you don't get up. It's around 12 hours. So 8 to 12 hours of sleep we take very often. What makes you sure that you get up, you wake up alive? This pathway. When you are sleeping, this pathway makes sure that you get up alive. Because of this pathway is running, we see every morning after night. Otherwise, no morning. During sleep only we will die due to hypoglycemia. But then what happens? From where they get glucose? This glucose is not from glycogen. The glycogen glucose is over by 4 hours. But next 6 to 8 hours, who supplies? Our muscle protein. Right? Now suppose a bodybuilder, whole year he is working out to build up body, build up muscle protein, taking muscle protein diet, and night he is sleeping, morning he is losing the muscle. Right? That's why they get up early, eat raw egg, and then again go to sleep. So that there is no loss of the muscle protein which he has gained by exercising last day. Otherwise, it is like climbing on a oily bamboo. You climb up 4 feet, slip down 3 feet, like that. So in order to build up more muscle, these things are required. That's all. Sit down. So we will stop here. Gluconeogenesis is nothing but the pathway where non-carbohydrate sources give rise to glucose. One of the sources is muscle protein and the amino acids. Fats, lipids cannot produce glucose. Lipids cannot produce glucose. Only amino acids can produce glucose, except few.